Motion to approve.
Is there a second? A second. Some further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye. No opposed, motion carries. New business, we have, two hearings, actually three hearings, I guess. We'll go through them. We'll have the Solbergs are looking at irrevocable trust for a variance for a newly created lot to promote agriculture. It is currently in Golden Valley Township. And Michelle, would you give us an update?
Yes, so the first one we have tonight is LU-0069-23, which is Valerie Bam on behalf of Dorvin and Eileen Solberg Revocable Trust. They're requesting a variance for a newly created lot to remain in the agricultural zoning district that does not meet the minimum required acreage. As you stated, this is within Golden Valley Township, which is ran by Williams County, so no township packet was sent out. Applicant is requesting a minor subdivision to create 3 lots. The parent property is approximately 159.96 acres and is within that agricultural zoning district. The larger 2 lots will be 98.52 acres and approximately 53.93 acres. These lots will remain in the agricultural zoning district and are divided between the tillable land and the farmstead and non-tillable land. The applicant is then requesting a variance for the 3rd lot that will be approximately 7.18 acres to remain in the agricultural zoning district. This lot will encompass the well site that is located on the property. County does not regulate oil and gas uses, so there is no one specific zoning district that works best for the well site. Instead, staff determines the best zoning district based on the size of the newly created lot and the potential use after oil and gas uses cease to exist. With this being surrounded by agricultural zoning districts, if oil production was to cease in this location.
Hi, Barry. Okay, Barry, you're on. So, okay, Michelle's giving us an update on number 1. Oil business.
And so if oil production does cease in this location, it does seem fitting for it to remain as agricultural. Access to the lots with the farmstead and the well site are off of 66th Street Northwest. Maybe you can't hear us.
Can you hear us, Barry? Barry?
Missy, are we muted on there as well?
This one?
Hello?
Can you hear us, Barry?
Excuse me, I didn't hear that.
Can you hear us, Barry?
Well, this is Barry, if you can hear me. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Access to the tillable land is off of a section line road leading from 66th Street Northwest. This minor subdivision is currently going through the review process, and the lots will be known as MS23-0017, MS23-0018, and MS23-0019. Recordation of this plat is contingent on the approval of the variance. Also, if you do look at the plat, it is a little, the lots are irregular shaped, and they did apply and were approved for an administrative variance because of the way that it works out with the plat. We just allowed them to do that.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. Anybody have any questions? If not,
Hey,
yep, go ahead, Barry.
it was my fault here. I guess when I was trying to get in, I was pushing *6 or #6 instead of *6. So I am here, I guess. So.
All right, we got you on. Thanks, Barry.
All right, thanks.
Okay, I will open up the hearing. This is a public hearing. Is there any public input? Any public input? Last time, any public input? I'll close the hearing. What are the wishes of the board? How would you like to proceed? Yep.
as these go through, we oftentimes ask what the purpose of splitting the property up. Is it to transfer it to a family member, or can you answer that question for us, please? Okay, thank you.
Okay, what are their wishes? How would you guys like to proceed?
I did not hear the answer to that. It is to give it or split it up for a family member, correct? From what I understand.
Nope, she said that they're looking at for a potential sale someday. So I'm guessing they're looking to separate the actual land, the house and the buildings, the farmland and the grasslands, to keep it separated.
Well, it's quite a nice it's quite a nice established farmstead. So, a lot of people don't want to live in town. So.
Can you say that again, Barry? You were very muffled on that one.
I guess I was under the assumption it was for a family member, but regardless, it's quite a nice place. A lot of people don't want to live in town, so it's already there. It's not going to create no real issue or traffic problems or things like that. So.
Yep, and I believe Bruce Johnson is the one that's going to be living out on the home site. Is that a fair statement, Bruce, at this point? Yep.
Yeah. I don't, I mean, there's no real problems or, I would make a motion to approve.
Is that with staff,
Following staff,
with staff comments?
correct, yes.
Okay, we have a motion to approve with staff comments. Is there a second?
Yes.
Is there any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Barry,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Sherelle,
Yes.
Louise,
Yes.
Shane,
Yes.
and Tate.
Yes. Motion carries. Item number 2, the Davidsons requesting a zone change to urban commercial for proposed 10-acre lot. It's currently located out in Pleasant Valley Township. Michelle, on this one, update.
Okay, so this one is LU-0071-23, which is Jim Wisnick, I believe is how you say it, on behalf of Mary Davidson. They're requesting a zone change to urban commercial for a proposed approximately 10-acre lot. Parent property is currently within the agricultural zoning district. Pleasant Valley on this one did recommend approval. The applicant is requesting a minor subdivision to create 2 lots. The parent parcel is approximately 138.52 acres and is currently within that agricultural zoning district. The newly created lots will be 125.96 acres and approximately 10 acres. The larger 125.96 acre lot will remain in that agricultural zoning district, while the zone change to urban commercial is for the 10-acre lot. The 10-acre lot is to carve out a portion which will be then sold to Farmers Union Oil for expansion of their business. So you can see up on the map, there is a red urban commercial lot, and they're just that's the parcel that Farmers Union currently owns. Recordation of this plat is contingent on the approval of the zone change. Access to the smaller lot is off of North Dakota State Highway 40, and the larger lot is accessed off of 65th Street Northwest. The minor subdivision is going through that review process, and the lots will be known as MS 23-0051 and MS 23-0052.
I have a question. So how many acres are they looking to change over to industrial?
Approximately 10.
Okay. Okay, and anybody else have any questions for Michelle? We're good? Okay, if not, I'm going to open up the hearing. This is a public hearing. Is there any public input? Any public input? Last time, any public input? I'll close the hearing. What are the wishes or comments, questions of the board?
So the purple is the light purple is light industrial. So where you see that light purple, it's NES, it's like a oil field company, Northern Energy Services, I believe. And then the red where the Farmers Union bought used to be, I believe it was a Shopco. And they just recently purchased it.
Yes, this is Barry. Pinnacle, the Farmers Union, or used to be Farmers Union, Senex, they're going to move their agronomy center out there. And in the future, maybe, they will move their fertilizer plant, the dry fertilizer stuff out there also, but I don't know if that's included in this or not, but that's the intent of it all, is to get their system or their buildings are way outdated, and they're looking for a little more elbow room, and just trying to serve the ag community as best as they can.
Go ahead.
Barry, this is Mark. Do you know, is 65th Street then, is that a road that would hold up to semis and stuff, or what is 65th Street right now?
No, there is no. They're going to come off of all the access will be off North Dakota Highway 40.
Yeah, the access to the new smaller lot, as you can see where that small red lot is, that's where the old Shopco used to be, and that's the parcel that Farmers Union currently owns. So it's a great access point, and they'll just go off, and then the plat kind of like it's a chunk behind, and then kind of a little bit, it kind of just encompasses that. Yep, and then 65th Street Northwest is the one at the very bottom of that parcel. You can see there's like those two little yellow parts. It's, yep, the one that Tate's pointing to right now. It's a maintain-ish road. It's not the greatest, but I mean, you can get at least to that well site that they have there and a little bit further. You can tell that they take tractors in and out and stuff.
Yeah, it's, well, actually what it is it's a Murex location. It's a lease road, right? So that's not really, well, it's a section line, but currently it's just it's a lease road, right? So I don't foresee an issue, I guess, myself, but that's why we're having discussion, right?
No, I'd answer my question.
Thanks, Barry. All right, any other questions? Comments? How would you like to proceed?
I'll make a motion to approve with staff comment.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
James,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Sherelle,
Yes.
Louise,
Yes.
Shane,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Tate.
Yes, motion carries. Next item is for Williams County zoning ordinance and subdivision regulation update. This is not a public hearing, is it? Just
Yeah, it would be.
it would be a public hearing? Okay, go ahead then.
Good evening, Commissioners. Cameron Heimer, Development Services. I'm presenting an ordinance amending the Williams County zoning ordinance and subdivision regulations regarding data centers. For background, on June 20th, 2023, the County Commission instituted a 6-month moratorium for any permits for data centers to give Development Services staff time to review the current regulations and go back to the board with any recommendations. On June 29th, 2023, after consulting with my portfolio commissioner, I advised the County Commission that I was going to be seeking a consulting firm to help us in amending the current ordinance during the moratorium. Then on August 15th, 2023, I presented 2 proposals from consulting firms, and the board chose to hire SRF Consulting based on my recommendation. On November 7th, 2023, the County Commission extended the moratorium to February 22nd, 2024 to allow staff extra time to finalize the proposed ordinance amendment. Development Services staff, our portfolio commissioner, Commissioner Montgomery, our attorney Prout, and SRF Consulting has worked on and finalized the draft ordinance amendment, and these are some of the main items. And I'll go over them. I'll kind of go over the main sticking points of this, and feel free to interrupt me if you have questions, or afterwards, I'm more than happy to try to answer the questions. I believe SRF is on the line as well, in case there's any questions directed for them. First, we've added data center in the definitions in our zoning ordinance. I will read that definition. It is defined as a building, structure, complex, or group of buildings and/or structures, facility or dedicated space within a building, structure, complex, or facility that houses IT infrastructure, including but not limited to computer systems, networks, servers, applications, appliances, services, and other associated components or facilities used for the remote storage, processing, or transmission of digital data associated with those computer systems, networks, servers, applications, appliances, services, and other associated components or facilities. Associated components and facilities may also include air handlers, water, cooling and storage facilities, utility substations, and other associated utility infrastructure to support operations. This definition also includes cryptocurrency mining, which involves the use of blockchain technology to verify and secure cryptocurrency transactions, as the terms cryptocurrency, cryptocurrency mining, blockchain, and blockchain technology are defined by any applicable state law or, if no applicable state law, by generally accepted industry standards. Second would be performance standards that we have added to data centers. Data centers may only be permitted in the heavy industrial district with a conditional use permit. Some of the notable performance standard requirements, or that are some of the larger requirements, I'll go over here. The application from an applicant for a CUP must include a narrative describing the proposed project, including a description of how the project meets market demand, the facility's processing capacity, and the facility's anticipated water and electricity needs. The application must also include a study prepared by an acoustical engineer that describes the anticipated noise level of the facility and any proposed mitigation efforts, such as sound walls, baffles, ventilation silencers, etc. The application must include a map of the project area showing all single-family and multifamily dwellings, schools, churches, synagogues, and other religious institutions or structures, and public parks located within 1 mile of the exterior boundaries of the property where the data center will be located. The application must include copies of signed permits or other documentation that includes compliance with all applicable state and federal laws, statutes, rules, regulatory standards, including but not limited to the North Dakota State Electrical Board and the North Dakota State Electrical Code, and any amendments thereto. The application must include a copy of the signed electrical power purchase agreement. Financial security in the form of an irrevocable letter of credit, a surety bond, or cash and escrow for installation, maintenance, and reclamation is required in the amount of 125% of the estimated cost. Third are the design standards, and again, this is not all, but these are some of the main ones. Separation from sensitive properties. Data centers shall be set back at least 1 mile from all single-family and multifamily dwellings, schools, churches, synagogues, and other similar religious institution or structures, and public parks as measured from the nearest property line of any of these sensitive properties to the data center's exterior property lines. Separation from other data centers. New data centers shall have a setback of at least 3 miles away from any lawfully existing data center. Security fencing. A secured chain link or solid wood or masonry fence at least 6 feet in height shall be constructed and maintained around the entire perimeter of the facility to prevent unauthorized entry onto the property or into the facility. Buffering and screening. Landscape buffers shall be required around the entire perimeter of the property where the data center is located. And a development agreement must be signed by the applicant. Fourth, abandonment or ceasing operations. Any data center that is not operated for a continuous period of 6 months shall automatically be considered abandoned, and the county may require the property to be reclaimed and restored, and if needed, recover such costs by use of the financial security provided by the applicant, or by lien, or by special assessment, or any other remedy authorized by law or the development agreement. So in conclusion, I would recommend approval of ordinance number 2024-01-02, an ordinance amending the 2015 zoning ordinances, adding regulations for data centers. And again, I'm open to any questions. SRF is also on the line, and Attorney Proud is also here.
Cameron, one question that comes to mind, if these guys are a mile from all habitable things, I'm gonna say, how does the power get to them? Is there overhead lines? Are they big buried lines, or how do you go about getting it to them?
Sure. So they typically like to, from what I've seen in the industry, be located near power substations. There's a good majority of the substations that are far away from any residential or any property that is described in here. And so there's definitely the possibility for that. Also, in the proposed ordinance, I didn't put it in as one of my bullet points, but it does talk about how the power within the facility should be ran, and it should be ran underground where applicable.
But if adjoining, let's say a landowner adjoining and has to come across his property, this couldn't be an eminent domain deal then, where they can bring power across without the person wanting it.
So this is only going to focus on the zoning aspect of that. Any type of utilities and such isn't usually done through the zoning side of items.
Cameron, top of the page of D3, exterior lighting standards. Could you kind of give us an idea of what those lighting standards are? Are we talking about a lot of light or minimal light? What would the standards be?
Sorry, what page was that, Commissioner?
The heart of my question is there going to be a lot of bright lights, or is there a restriction on the amount of light pollution that would be on one of these?
Shooting downward,
Yeah, don't we have
I
right
think-
now in our zoning a requirement that they use that downward facing lighting so it doesn't glare?
You know, I don't have our full ordinance in front of me to be able to pull up section 5-2-7, but Michelle has come to the rescue. Perfect timing. So section 5-2-7 says the intent of this section is to preserve, protect, and enhance the nighttime enjoyment of any and all properties using appropriate lighting. Individual fixtures and lighting systems shall be designed, constructed, and installed to control glare and minimize obstructive lighting into adjoining properties and vehicular traffic along highways, county roads, and other public roads, and to reduce the degradation of the nighttime visual environment. And then there's a list of things that should apply. It shall be fully shielded and directed downward, and shall take measures to prevent off-site glaring to minimize light pollution. The intensity of lighting shall not exceed 10-foot candles within any site. Wall-mounted lighting shall be cut off, down directional with a maximum of 250 watts per fixture. Street lighting or interior parking lot lighting shall not exceed 25 feet in height, and light poles shall not be constructed of a wood material similar to a common electric or telephone pole.
Thank you.
can we talk a little bit about the buffering side of things? So they put it. Height. To be irrigated, to grow. Getting too deep in the weeds.
No, not necessarily. Those are great questions. And again, I think some of that is referenced in our standards within our standard
In our
zoning
standard
ordinance.
Okay.
Correct. But part of the fencing requirement was a fence no less than 6 feet. The buffering typically is with like an earthen mound or an earthen hill. It can also be done with trees, but at the time that the CUP is reviewed, that's when they would really decide, this board and the county commission, on exactly what we'd be looking for following the ordinance.
And then when they put the fencing in, assuming they did a chain link, will they be required then to put those, I don't know what to call them, but those little
Privacy slats,
privacy, what do you call them?
privacy slats.
Yeah, in there, so it is, can there be some sort of separation, or is that something we would deal with at the time? And say, hey, you are gonna put the fencing up, because it says you have to, but we're also gonna say, you're gonna put the privacy slats in there also. I mean,
Sure, no, that's a great question. So the fencing requirement is strictly for security, not for the privacy of the facility or to keep, to shield the view. However, the buffering and screening design standards is what that would be.
okay, so we could
applicable.
put those stipulations in there and require that.
Certainly could, and I don't have it again in front of me. It's section 5-5-6 of our zoning ordinance, and it is a landscaping standards, and I can't remember it word for word, but we do have landscaping standards within our ordinance.
Thanks, Cameron. Does anybody else have any questions? If we don't, I guess I'll open up the public hearing. Yep, Karen? Before I open it, we'll have Karen.
I messed something up.
No, I was just looking over the ordinance that we drafted for it, that 2024, whatever, and I realize now that the definition that we have in there is actually not included in there. So if you're going to approve recommendation of the ordinance, I would say with the stipulation that the definition that Cameron, you read them, the definition, Cameron?
Article 7?
Yeah, with the definition there. Yeah, because I forgot to put that in there, so, yeah. Yep.
Well, while you're up there at the mic, Karen, I have a question. Do we, well, because of the, our, the legal status that we're at right now, is it best to, move forward, or should we just, stand put for right now till we get things figured out with our legal, problem that we have going on right now currently, or what?
I really can't discuss, what's going on in terms of the legal
Well, no,
aspect,
no,
but,
all I
but,
know we're gonna-
but in discussions,
Do we move forward, or
Yes.
is it best just to,
Yes.
call timeout, right? Or you know what I mean?
no, we don't call timeout, because then that means that moratorium would have to be extended, for who knows when. So it's best really to move forward on this, really.
I think, Barry, they're two
Okay,
separate
well,
issues.
I was just curious, because we don't want to, get ourselves in
I think,
more of a pick.
I think moving forward from a future standpoint, I think it's in the best interest of the county to do something sooner than later, because what's happened is done. That's
Yeah.
a separate issue. I think it's in, okay.
That is my opinion also, but I was just,
Yep.
while Karen was at the mic,
Yep.
I just wanted to ask if, what would
Yep.
be the best
Yep.
way to go.
Yep, that's understandable. Yep, that makes sense. So, but like I said, yes, we need to move forward on this, so.
And I did fail to specify that this would only pertain to any new constructed data centers.
Or modified of existing ones, yeah.
That would require a building permit, correct?
Then do we
Okay.
do the hearing one time here and 2 times in the county? How does this work? I don't recall.
So with the zoning ordinance, if it is approved at this meeting, then, or denied, we would move it on to the county commission at the first meeting in January.
Okay.
That would be the final approval. However, we have to advertise that for,
Yeah, we'll have to publish the ordinance 2 weeks in a row, just to give people an opportunity. If they don't
Got it.
disagree with it, they can come forward and
Okay.
say, hey, don't like it. And,
it would be a home rule charter
Yeah.
item that would require a first and second reading, whereas this wouldn't through the zoning ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, do you guys have any more questions for these?
Well, actually, I would like to thank the staff, for the work that they've done on this, because it's a pretty contentious thing, and, they deserve a pat on the back.
I would concur. Okay, so what we'll do then is I'll open up a public hearing in case there are people on the phone or whatnot that wish to speak. They're more than welcome to. With that said, I'll open up the hearing. This is a public hearing. Is there any public input? Any public input? Last time, any public input? I'm going to close the hearing. You heard the comments, what they're recommending. I gave my opinion. I think you do need to move forward sooner than later, because I don't think this is going to be the end of it. I think you're going to see others attempt to come through the channels through the county.
Within the past 6 months, we've had a handful of possible ones that have already met with us and are definitely interested. So I think we will see some more possibly come through.
I agree. With that said, go ahead.
Cameron, just, not to sound naive, but when you call it mining, there's no dirt work or anything. It's all electronic everything, right? And it's just a word you use as mining?
Correct, it's an industry term. That's why we kind of, the definition is data center, but some of the terms that are used within the industry is data mining. Some people have heard of it as like cryptocurrency mining or even Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a specific brand, but the actual mining itself is of a cryptocurrency. It's just complex mathematical equations that are done. I don't understand it all, but that's
Way
kind of what I
beyond me.
know about it.
What are the wishes?
I'd make a motion. Oh,
I wanted to ask Cameron to explain Bitcoin to us, but he already sidestepped that discussion, so. I'll make a motion to approve the first reading.
With
I'll
the
second that.
correction,
With adding definitions. I'll second that.
and we have a second.
And
Okay,
it
so-
shouldn't be a first reading, it's just to either approve or deny.
So we have a motion to approve the ordinance 2024-01-02 with the corrections and the definition as presented by Cameron tonight. And we have a second to that motion. Okay, is there any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mark,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes,
Sherelle,
Yes.
Louise,
Yes.
Shane,
yes.
Barry,
Yeah.
James,
Yes.
and Tate.
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cameron, good job. Old business, nothing, discussion items, reorganization of the planning and zoning, chairperson and vice chairperson. How would you guys like to proceed?
I'd make a motion to leave it the way it is, if everybody else is good with that.
Okay,
I
do we have,
second that motion.
we have a second to that motion? Do we need to do a roll call on that?
Well, I'm sorry, I unmuted myself a little late there, but yes, I would agree with that.
Okay, with that being said, all in favor, say aye.
all right,
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next meeting is for January 18th, 2024. I wish you all,
Two questions,
go ahead.
just for staff. First one. See, some of these water depots are going away. Does the CUP automatically go away on them? Is that something that staff renews, or how does that go about?
No, I believe it was a couple years ago, they did away with renewals of water depots. So once you have the CUP, it kind of follows the water depot. If they're being abandoned or left, then I would assume that it would cease the CUP as well.
County get paperwork on that, or how do you know there's not a CUP there anymore, or how does that go about?
We don't, but typically, I believe the ordinance says after 6 months of inactivity, it's listed in there a certain time frame, then it would be considered ceased or abandoned, and the CUP would automatically go away. But yeah, they do automatically renew now, so applicants no longer have to come in every year to renew those.
So if somebody comes in and renews it 2 years from now, they have to go
Well-
through the process all over again then?
If it's set for a period of inactivity, correct, it would go beyond an administrative renewal. So it would have to be coming back in front of the board, and typically, if that's the case, a lot of times it would have a new owner, so it would require a new CUP anyways.
Well, and I would say Cameron's correct on that, because we had so many of them come through so often that it got to be more of a administration approval. You know, as long as there's not an issue, nobody really had a problem with it. If there was a problem, then they had to come to the commission to, you know, fix the issues or stuff like that. So, I don't see that as a problem, I guess myself, but.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, with that being said, anybody else have any questions?
One last one.
Get after it.
With our empty position down here, can our board make a motion to put somebody on it? We got a former member that would like to get back on that's not a county employee now.
That-
He can go back on. Can we make a motion to put him on, or does it have to go through
I would,
hiring process?
ask our attorney that question.
so there's a open seat on the Planning and Zoning Commission?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
George Peterson, now that he's not a county employee, would like to get back on. We visited. I said I would bring it
Well,
up and see what the process is.
I assume the HR department has been advertised, I mean, if there's open
have
positions, they've
for
been
months.
advertised, then George needs to contact the HR department and say he wants to apply for it, or go online and fill out, saying he wants to apply for it, really, and then it would come to this board for recommendation for approval, and then to the Board of County Commissioners, so.
Perfect.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, I didn't
be
know there
great.
was an empty position, so
Yeah,
yes.
Adam moved.
No,
Yeah.
yes, yes, tell George to either contact county HR, Danny or Helen, and then they'll tell him what to do.
I think
Yeah.
she's pulling it up to show if,
Yeah, I
I
think he's in the same
feel,
district.
I think he does live in the, I think they bought a house in that.
Live over in what, like Seventh Avenue?
Yeah,
Seventh East, North.
Yeah, unless it's a position that's a member at large, I mean, then you don't have to live in a.
It's a
particular
District 4 position.
District 4?
Is it?
Correct.
Perfect.
Okay, yep.
Thank you,
okay,
guys.
yep.
Okay, now, anything else, Marcus? All right, I wish you all a Merry Christmas, safe travels for those traveling. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Yep.
I'll second.
Second.
And I would say I was